Today we're taking a look at these NBA matches, which are happening on Saturday, November 12, 2022, and giving you match breakdowns, betting tips and predictions in general on these games. Welcome back to High Stakes, let's get straight into it. Also, don't forget to subscribe and push that notification bell to get notified as soon as we release these sport prediction videos. And if you would like more betting tips and predictions, then check out our Patreon in the link down below. Our new Patreon is a way for us to help you improve your chances of making more money. Multiple plans are available for each and every one of you. By becoming a member of the High Stakes Patreon, you will have access to our best team picks, total picks, parlay picks and much more. Stop wasting hours of your time searching for bad betting predictions that ends up costing you a lot of time and money. Join the High Stakes Patreon now and get the best betting picks. Clemson vs Louisville. Clemson was on a roll before getting punched in the mouth by a Notre Dame team that has losses to Marshall and Stanford. The Tigers should play better than they did against the Fighting Irish, but Louisville has been a game opponent against Clemson in previous meetings. While there were 3 blowouts in consecutive seasons, the other 4 matchups were decided by 6 points or less. There still is plenty of buzz for Dabo Swinney to replace Uiagalelei with Klubnik, but it doesn't seem like that is going to take place. Louisville has hung tough with 4 straight wins, and they have been stellar defensively. As a result, look for the Cardinals to take Clemson's early punch and hang in to potentially cover the line. Take Louisville Cardinals plus 7 points. I think this game will end up being a defensive war. Both of these defenses are above average. Clemson's offense has struggled big time as of late, and I'm not sure if the quarterback situation will be resolved by the game time of this one. I think we're going to see a ton of running from both teams. DJ Uiagalelei was at his best when he was moving earlier this season. Malik Cunningham is probably the best dual-threat quarterback in college football this season. Neither of these teams has had many explosive plays through the air. They're going to stick to what has worked for them and try and outrun one another. Both these defenses will be ready for what's coming, and Louisville has finished under in more games than they have, not with Clemson having 4 unders this season as well. Take under 52 with confidence in this one. Oklahoma State vs Iowa State. Iowa State has had an up and down season already in 2022, but after grabbing the win last week, they might be headed down the right path to close out the year. The Cyclones were dominant against West Virginia last week, and there's little doubt that they have the talent to take down the Cowboys, though doing so on the road could be a challenge. Iowa State only has 1 road win in the season and has struggled to move the ball away from home. With some challenging games coming up, this team knows that getting the win in this one is crucial to keep the momentum going in the right direction. After flirting with the college football playoff last season, much was expected out of Oklahoma State this season, though it appears much of that hype was unwarranted. The Cowboys have lost 2 in a row and 3 of their last 4, all coming on the road, so there's no doubt they'll be happy to make their return home. They sit at 5-0 this season at home, and they love nothing more than to make it 6-0 after these 2 teams meet on Saturday. The Cowboys still have quite a bit of talent at their disposal, so they like their chances to grab the win in this one. The Cowboys are primed for a comeback and to grab a win in this one, and considering their unblemished mark at home, they will come out and grab the win in this one. Even with some of the injuries at hand, they still have the explosive talent at key positions to find success. For Iowa State, the lack of a running game to control the clock and game is a massive concern and is likely to come back and haunt them in this one. Additionally, according to covers.com, Iowa State is 1-5 ATS in their last 6 games, following an ATS win, while Oklahoma State is 4-1 ATS in their last 5 games, following an ATS loss. Take the Oklahoma State plus 1.5. And success. Iowa State's defense is 9th in the nation in points allowed at 16.3 points per game. The Cyclones are allowing an average of 110.6 yards rushing and 173.9 yards passing, for a total of 284 yards per game of total offense to opponents. Iowa State linebacker Orain Vance has a team-best 47 tackles, as do linebacker Jerry Vaughn and cornerback Anthony Johnson Jr. The leaders in quarterback sacks are linemen M.J. Anderson and Vance with 2.5 each. Linebacker Colby Reeder and Johnson Jr. each have 2 interceptions to lead Iowa State. The Oklahoma State Cowboys are scoring an average of 36.1 points per game, which is 41st in the nation, but have scored a total of just 16 points, or an average of 8.0 points per game, over the last 2 games, which have both resulted in losses. Starting quarterback Spencer Sanders missed Oklahoma State's last game and, although listed as active, is questionable for Saturday. 3 wide receivers for Oklahoma State are listed as being out or questionable and include third leading receiver Braden Johnson, questionable. Oklahoma State is averaging 433.2 yards of total offense, with 137.8 yards rushing and 295.4 yards passing per game. In place of Sanders, quarterback Garrett Rangel has passed for 304 yards with 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. Dominic Richardson is the leading rusher for Oklahoma State with 502 yards, and the leading receiver is Bryson Green with 560 yards. Even if Spencer Sanders can play on Saturday, the Oklahoma State Cowboys will have problems putting points up on the board against a tough Iowa State defense that is allowing an average of only 16.3 points per game. The total has finished under in each of Iowa State's last 5 games overall, and in 20 of the last 29 games that the Cyclones have played on the road. Take the under, 48.5 points. Ole Miss vs Alabama. For the first time since 2019, Alabama has 2 losses in the regular season. Coincidentally, that was also the last time the Crimson Tide failed to make the college football playoffs. It will likely be a playoff-empty season this year as well for Nick Saban's squad. On Saturday, they will look to avoid losing 2 straight games for the first time since 2010. Last Saturday night, Alabama was stunned by LSU in overtime 32-31. The Tigers converted a 2-point conversion after scoring a touchdown and foregoing the game-tying extra point. For Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, the time might be now to finally upend Nick Saban and Alabama. Ole Miss is at home, coming off a big road win over A&M, and has a chance to really put a dagger in the Alabama season with a win on Saturday. 2 weeks ago, Ole Miss was led by freshman running back sensation Quinshon Judkins, who had 205 of the team's 390 total rushing yards, on the way to a 31-28 win before a much-needed bye week. With the yardage, Judkins became the Ole Miss all-time leader in freshman rushing yards. Lane Kiffin certainly has respect for his mentor, Nick Saban, which was proven by his war of words with A&M coach Jimbo Fisher on what Kiffin believed were disrespectful remarks Fisher made about Saban. That said, Kiffin comes into this matchup looking to put a dent in the aura that Saban has over his former coaches. Coming into this matchup, Saban is 25-2 versus his former assistants. He is also 2-0 versus Kiffin. In this game, however, I'm leaning toward Kiffin and the Rebels with a spread. Ole Miss can control the pace of play with their dominant ground game in an attempt to keep Young and the high-powered Bama offense off of the field. In addition, the penalties for Bama have certainly taken their toll in recent games, including the 9 against LSU. It might be a challenge for Ole Miss to pull off the full-fledged upset of Alabama, but they can certainly cover with double-digit points coming their way. Another consideration, Alabama is just 3-7 at TS in their last 10 meeting at Ole Miss. Take Ole Miss plus 11.5 points. These are 2 of the most prolific offenses in the entire sport, so this will be a huge thing for the offenses to dominate. These defenses are not getting stops in their last 3 games, as Alabama is giving up 29.7 points per game, while Ole Miss is allowing 35.7 points per game in that same stretch. Alabama is going to be able to run the football extremely well against this weaker defensive line, while Bryce Young can throw against the secondary. Young has thrown for 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions against SEC opponents, while Dart has 8 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, so they are carving up the secondaries that are not doing well. The over has hit in 5 of their last 7 meetings. Go with over 63.5 points in this game as well.